Hey guys, today I am touring a Honda Odyssey minivan, but I'm at M24 meetup, and so I've got lots of vans and cool ideas for you to come and check out. So make sure that you subscribe and you look at all the different vans that we are touring. And I also will have some RVs and maybe a teardrop, so we'll see what we can get in. And today we're gonna meet Darren, and he has a YouTube channel. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
And in his shirt pocket, he has a QR code. So if you're on a TV and want to scan that with your phone.
This is my 2013 Honda Odyssey that I've converted for a little bit of camping and off-grid use. If I start at the outside, the first thing that's probably obvious in the camera is the light bar on top. A little quick story behind why that's there. I was looking for someone's campsite out in Utah, and I saw this really dark area near the edge of the path, and I looked and I'm like, what is that? It was a cliff. And so now I added that light so I can see the edge of things when I'm off with my old man eyes trying to find my way through the forest. And then also on top I have my 200-watt solar panel.
200 watts.
And some side-facing lights. I'll talk about those in a minute. The vehicle has a little bit of a lift, so it's got a couple-inch lift on it, just to get the oil pan up over a lot of obstacles. I can go most places if it's dry. When you get into muddy situations, that's a good place for four-wheel drive. All Hondas are front-wheel drive, unlike all Honda Odysseys, unlike the Sienna, which is available with all-wheel drive. One disadvantage, I think the Odyssey is better looking than the Sienna, but that's my subjective opinion. So on the front corners here, I've got mounted camera on each side, and there's also one in the grill, and there's one in the back, so I can see 360 degrees around the vehicle at night. So inside, built a bed, just single, because I'm usually traveling alone. And underneath the bed is my refrigerator freezer, set up to run off 12 volts. And then just to the right of that is my battery and power supply. I've got 200 amp hours of lithium. And then I've got up on the top there my 1000-watt inverter. And so I can run everything, and I generally cook using electricity. The only thing I can't run yet is my air conditioner, which we'll get to. So underneath the floorboard is a plywood base using furniture levelers. You can get the floor level, and then there's a level bubble on the bed. So whenever I park, if I need leveling, I can drive up on ramps to level the whole vehicle based on that. But as long as it's flat, the bed will stay flat. And that's one of the problems that people deal with any minivan is, how do I get a flat enough floor? And you'll find that most of them are not flat. The Dodge Caravan's probably the flattest. Around the back of the vehicle, I have drinking water and a shower. So right now I'm in a campground, obviously. So I don't have my shower set up, but I hang a shower curtain from these, and then I have my spigot here. And I've got, I think it's like 10 gallons, if I remember right, bath water on one side, and then drinking water on the other side. And then this is my air conditioner, which I just installed a little while ago. It ducts out through the floor, so the hot air goes out through the floor. Currently, it's powered by a cord coming in under the vehicle into a plug, just like you have on any RV.
Now I did have a question. Now you said that this hose goes to one of the tanks, or
right.
Both of the tanks?
Just one. It goes to the shower tank, and basically with that I can change the pump configuration. I can pump water out of a relatively clean water source, but maybe one I wouldn't want to drink. And then the separate tank over here is for drinking water.
And how do you get the water out of the drinking?
Okay, I'll show you that in a second. Let me show you how I get the water in.
Okay.
There's a little fitting here, and the hose just connects here, and then I pour the water into the hose. You could go directly with the hose, but I have a deionized, or reverse osmosis water system at home. And that allows me to get really pure drinking water, and so I usually fill it up at home. To operate the water, it's an on-demand pump, they both are. And so for my drinking water, I just have a little hose over here, and so.
Wow.
So that's the drinking water source, and this is usually where I'm cooking from. I'll be next to that little picnic table, the little black one there, and set up my induction cooking apparatus and pull my fridge out, and that's kind of where I make breakfast or dinner or whatnot. So the water is right there where I need it. I also washed somebody's dog with it one time. So if you have a pet and you need to get them clean, it's nice to have a setup like that, you know, even in the van. I find the van small enough already, I don't need to have a pet with me, but some people do. Under the bed platform, I've just got some mats that I always travel with. I can pull those out and vent underneath the mattress, just a foam mattress. And the foam mattress has a heating pad that runs the length, so mattress heater. And that's what I use to keep warm when it gets too chilly. So like last night, I had the sheet on, it got down to what, 50 maybe last night?
I think so.
Approaching it anyway, so it's a little too cold, a little too chilly for the sheet. And all this is controlled, the pump is controlled, the side lights, the overhead light, the floor ventilation system, which I didn't mention underneath the floorboard is actually a bilge fan, which pushes, if I remember right, about 270 CFM. And I can turn that on and I have a motor speed control on it. So if I'm stealth camping, which I do occasionally, I can turn on the under ventilation, crack the side windows where the rain guard is, and not overheat in the van at night. Get a little bit of fresh air. It's also good in the winter because it gets the moisture out. So in the morning, I'll turn that on and it'll help get the moisture out of the vehicle. Anytime you're in cold weather camping and you're in some type of a van, you're going to get condensation. Even if you insulate, you're going to have spots that are going to develop condensation. I found since you don't really know where that's occurring, it's better to dry out the whole vehicle.
And the other thing is when people build out their vans and they insulate, they make a huge mistake of cramming insulation down at the pinch well where the outer shell and the inner shell meet. And that's actually a weep hole down there. So if any moisture gets in there, it does drain out in some spots.
Interesting.
So when I was doing mine, I have certain things that I've put in my van, and I've always kept that little where the inside panel and the outside panel meet, that little pinch weld. Keep that clear of any material.
Good to know. I did not know that. One advantage of a minivan is generally there's some sound insulation. There's a vapor barrier in there, and generally they fare pretty good. I don't recommend that anyone go further in insulating their minivan because the factory insulation is good enough. You're going to lose heat through the windows. So if anything, cover the windows. You can use foam pads. There's a million one window coverings out there. I'm experimenting with a new one up here, which I don't have quite fit to the back window, so I have a roll of paper towels between it and a crossbar. You find that the big glass surfaces, over time, if you use any kind of Reflectix material, they tend to bow and flex and fall out of the window, and you could suction cup it to the window. I've done that in the past, but I was just toying around with a new covering before I left, and I grabbed a dowel I had in the garage, some pipe insulation. The one thing to show you over on this side is my booster. So I've got a cell phone booster in there. I had to do a business call earlier, so I just fired up the van and turned on the booster and sat in the air conditioning. It kind of serves as my office as well.
Now, is that like a Wii Boost?
It's exactly a Wii Boost.
Okay.
And I forget the exact model, but it is the Wii Boost brand. And what I'll say about cell phone boosters, I've used a couple. And if you're in a fringe area where you have like one bar or it fades in and out of one bar, it'll give you enough to text and to talk generally, so it'll give you a bar or two. If you're in the middle of the range, I find it doesn't do much. And then I mentioned earlier that I have rain guards just on the side, and there's actually a screen inserted in there, so during the day or whenever I can leave that open. If it's raining, I can leave it open, and with the positive ventilation through the floor, I get enough air in there and exhaust. Would I leave my cat in there or something? Nah, it still gets hot inside, but it definitely helps. For screens, generally I don't screen every window, I'll just do across. So my slider on the other side has a screen on. It's just screen material with magnets, and I found that does a great job. And then when I stick my hand in there at night and not realizing there's a screen and tear the screen, not that I would ever do that, it's pennies to replace it, and that's why I like them. If you see the control panel in the middle, and that controls the on-off on my inverter and also the cameras, the overhead lights, the water pump, the shut the water pump off when I'm not using it, just in case it springs a leak.
I really have to say, for a minivan, I am very impressed of how well thought out and how you have used your space. Amazing.
It's an evolution. I think, and this is not my first van. I actually had a van just like hers. I had a Nissan MV200, and you'll find that also on the channel if you have a different style van. And I change something every time, and I tell people it's never really done. You know, you'll be sitting there on a rainy day and you say, geez, I could do that better, you know, and then go change it. And I've thought of larger RVs, and I think a lot of people in minivans do, but the two things that can't be beat are how quick it is to set up, which is I park, and then the speed and the fuel mileage you get. And the maneuverability, I guess I'd add. You know, I had to turn around once in Colorado on pretty much on the side of a cliff. The road got a little too narrow, a little too bumpy for me to get through. And so I had to do what ended up being about an 18-point turn, because I had foot on the brake and I'm slowly backing up, watching the rear cameras, and then making sure is your foot on the brake or the gas before you manage to turn around. Had I had some type of, even a small RV towing behind me, I never would have been able to do that. I would have had to back all the way down the side of the mountain, which is a few miles from where I was. Frequent question I get is pets and couples. Do you think an RV, you know, you think a minivan RV would be right for me? And I always tell people, well, first, if you're a couple, you may not be after you travel together in a space that small. And do you enjoy getting dressed on your knees? So if your knees are shot, this is not the setup for you. And then the question everybody has about vans, minivans is
bathroom.
Yeah, there you go. So now we're at a campground, and I'm actually an hour and a half from my house, so there's no need as a camp bathroom. But I use the folding toilet with disposable bags on the bottom. And if you're off in the woods, it's a lot nicer than leaning against a tree. You know, so you can dig your cat hole and set up the seat and, you know, travel in style.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'm Darren, and my channel is Odyssey Camper.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely gonna subscribe and look, and anybody, I will link his channel in the description. If you are like me and just blown away by how much he has done on this van, yeah, go check out his channel, and safe travels, guys. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this Honda Odyssey, was really fantastic to get to see all the unique ways that he has built. Which leads me perfectly into, I have a whole playlist of travel trailers, an Airstream, a Class B, DIY vans, no builds, even a tour of my own van is in this playlist. So click into that and look at all the different ideas if you're interested in building a van, or even making a blueprint of your own rig. Here's some ideas in this playlist. Click in that, and I'll see you in the next video.